Hello, hello. Yes, we are live. We are live. So, happy new year to all before the madness starts. Now this was going to be just a Q&A, let's chat about shit, let's talk. But can everybody hear me okay, by the way? But a few things have happened in the last 24 hours. Pamela Gate. Hello, vegan guys. Pamela Gate has happened again. So I'm sorry if any of you are sick, tired of the intersectional chat of all about this oppression, and I'm going to talk about it with a couple of people for about 30 minutes. So if you want to just like switch off and come back in about 30 minutes, you can do that. But I just think it's interesting what assumptions have been made about everybody. Muddy Paws, well done on your 5K. Amazing. Muddy Paws has done 5K from zero training. So amazing. Let's have a look who's on. We've got. I'm going to say Grumpy Vegan Grandad then. Oh, we've got Grumpy Vegan Grandad on. Michael Askew is on. Vegan Pixie Warrior. Vegan Pixie Warrior is not my friend at the moment because I've streamed when her new video has gone live. So please, everybody, when the stream finishes, click onto Vegan Pixie Warrior and check out her video. Leave a comment. Stick a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We don't care. I'm going to thumb down it. I always do. Let's do this. So let's, hello Bohemian B, hello Taint Muselix. Right, okay, let's add a couple of people on. This is an open mic, by the way, so if anybody wants to join, the link is pinned at the top of the comments, and I will put it here as well. So we'll start at the top in my screen. I'm Easy Vegan. Do you want to say hello?
Yeah, how you doing, everyone?
And below me, because we always have women below us, don't we? Below us, isn't it? Below,
you know.
I'm scared to say it now. Back in the 80s, I wouldn't have had no problem saying it, but below us is a woman.
Happy New Year's, guys! I'm ready. I'm double fisting it.
You're double fisting it. Oh
hell yeah! After this morning, yes.
Hello,
yes, hello, Vegan Pixie Warrior.
Hello.
Keep away from Stacey. She's double fisting tonight. I don't know what that means. It means something completely different in the UK, but apparently in America, it means holding two drinks in your hands.
I have one drink in my hand, but yeah, Stacey, don't say that for the British audience.
Well, you never know. I mean, after I have a 12-pack, you never know.
Are you going to do it only fans, maybe?
Right, so let me move. Right, okay, let's explain what's happened, right? So I'm going to share the screen and let's have a look. This appeared.
Yeah, she's just written a comment back to me, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, this appeared on Pamela's Facebook, and she basically says, here's me on a live stream discussing politics, intersectionality, and veganism with a female trumpist. Is that like a trombone player or something?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
A male vegan YouTuber joins later, whose income stream includes sending dick pics and other closet intersectionals. Did it end well? You decide. So, and then she's actually gone on to do a video which we are going to play and we're going to react to. But there's a few things I have a problem with. I'll just speak these and let Aaron speak because Aaron needs to get off because he's like busy tonight. But she's assumed that I'm anti-intersectional. She's assumed that I'm open to intersectionality. I am open to anything that will help the vegan movement. Now, whether it will help or not, I'm not a closed-minded person, and I am open to it, right? my problem with her was her approach. It was a big turn-off. She's also accused Vegan Gains of being, this will come up later actually, but sending dick pics. No, dick pics is when you send a photo of your dick to somebody who doesn't want it. It's the complete opposite. So we'll move into that later. But anyway, Aaron, fire away, kid. I'm going to dive into my Jack Daniels and Coke.
No, I was saying, no, play the video, man, because we can respond to it and we can pause it and just talk about it.
Right, I'll tell you what then. We'll play the video and we'll stop it at opportune moments and we will talk about it. Can you see what's going on, Rebecca? Are you just hiding your face?
Yeah, no, I can see everything. I'm just hiding my face because I haven't got any makeup on and I'm sat in my dressing gown because it's freezing.
Oh, I bet you're a little minging. Right, hang on. Right, let's.
It looks like you guys got snow today.
Right, okay.
I said that it looks like you guys got snow today, at least from Michelle.
Yeah, we got
not in Bristol.
Okay.
Right, okay, let's do this. So, can we all see that?
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I won't put it on big screen because, anyway, I'm not going to say that because it's wrong. It's apparently bullying. So let's play this and stop it at opportune moments.
Oh, hi. I just want to have a quick chat, actually, about another live stream I did on somebody else's channel the other day. It was on Christmas Eve. And this one was about an open mic, feminism, politics, and intersectionality. And I wasn't planning to join. But then I kind of heard the way that people were talking, and you know, when you just think, actually, I've got to speak up here. Actually, I've got to speak up. So I joined the live stream. And the link will be below. It was Michelle Lowe's channel. So what basically happened was that I was put in a position of anti-oppression. I don't really talk about intersectionality. I talk about anti-oppression and structural oppression, and that's the way that I frame it. But what I hadn't realised was that the other 5 people on that stream were all basically like anti-so-called intersectional.
Right, okay. So, what have we got to say about that? All 5 of us, including Michelle Lowe, Stacey, who else was on there? There was a young lady on there, weren't they? Yeah. We were all anti-intersectionals. How did she know we were anti-intersectional? What are your thoughts?
I told her I told everybody I voted for Biden, but she's still calling me a Trumpster.
I know, this is what I was confused about with her post and even her video saying that the Trumpster and her post earlier. It's like, you actually said that you don't like Trump and that you voted for Biden. So where she's got that from, she's a complete fantasist.
See, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just going to say that's the problem with intersectionalists, or people call themselves intersectionalists, is they make these assumptions about people. If you don't agree with them, then you're automatically this.
Exactly.
You know? Or if you're not self-flagellating, if you're not self-flagellating, then you must be a Trump supporter. You know, it's.
But,
okay, right.
Regardless of the point, I don't care if you Trump, Biden, or what. Why does that make you anti or pro-oppression?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
okay,
I could say plenty of things on the left that's oppressive. So.
See, I mean, when it comes to political forums, well, even when it is a political forum, you don't pick the perfect in the UK, the perfect MP for the job. You pick the one who's got the more policies that affect you or people around you. But it doesn't mean that you're 100% behind all the policies. So they may have a few policies that may be pro-hunting. You know, with millions and millions of people, and a lot must have been vegan, have voted for Boris, even though they know he's pro-hunting. You know,
I actually know one person who's a massive Boris fan, and he's a vegan. He's a vegan activist, and he voted for Boris. And the only reason he voted for Boris was for Brexit. That's why he voted for it. But yeah, no, you're right. Like I vote for the Green Party, always have, always will. But I don't agree with everything that they say and they do. But like you just said, Grumpy, that I agree with way more of their policies than I do with any other party. And that's why I've always voted for them for 26 years.
The thing is, what I mean, we'll probably delve into this a bit more in a minute, but she says she's not intersectional. She is, like, she is. And she's going on about how, if you're even slightly right, let alone far right, that you are racist, you're sexist, you're homophobic, all this. But I want to say, like, sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. I was looking at the comments. I was going to say,
ignore that race leaver guy, mate. Just ignore him. He's not bad.
Whereas,
well, you see, the thing is, right, is what my problem is she automatically assumed that we were anti-intersectional, right? I am not anti-intersectional, right? When I was a meat eater, I wasn't aware of what goes on. I was aware, but I blanked it. I didn't want to speak to myself about my food choices. However, when I decided to open my eyes to it, then I've got to tackle it. Now, I'm not anti-intersectional. I understand the points, but I'm not against it or for it at the moment. I'm undecided about it. I need convincing. And the only thing I've seen is negative. The only intersectional chat has always turned into a negative. So I've not seen anything positive from it, although I do understand it. I mean, I've said all along that I can't understand how being intersectionalist can help the vegan movement. But then again, when I've thought about it today, if you look at the poorest people are the people more likely to buy cheap meat products and dairy products because, of course, they're really, really cheap. And most of the people who are poor are black people and Asian people, disproportionately to the rest of the country. So I do understand it on that side of things, is that you've got to tackle this disproportionate poverty with people, otherwise they're not going to go vegan. So I do get the connections with it, but it just, everything about it seems to be sort of confrontational and sort of really, it's a really big turn off the way they tackle it, and they don't seem to give people a chance to understand it. The first thing Pamela said when she came on the stream was, haven't you read the book? Haven't you read anything by any civil rights? Well, I'm not a reader. I can't read stuff that's not like fantasy. I've got to listen to people explain it to me. So why can't she cater for me? Why does she have to come on and start accusing me of not being able to have opinion because I'm white? I can't do this because why didn't she start off this conversation when she came on and said, look, right, this is a really hard philosophy to understand, but I'm going to explain it to you, see what you think. Now, that would have been a nice opener rather than say, you, and you, do you really think 5 little white faces should be talking about this? That's not the way to come on, because that instantly puts everyone on the back foot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I even told her that I was part Native American. She immediately just dismissed that. That didn't matter.
But she even dismissed the black man that came on later on with Vegan Gains.
And that's the
when
thing.
He came on, she interrupted him. She dismissed what he was saying. She put him down, and she's slagged him off online.
That's the thing. It's like if you don't take a side, you're on the wrong side. Is the way people like that think.
She's done her response video, Michelle.
We're playing it. We're playing it now, Michelle. Right, let's move on. Let's play the next little section. Okay.
Turn the volume up, Grumpy, because the volume was really quiet.
Yeah,
is it really? I don't. Let's have a look. How do I turn the volume up? Do I turn it up on my?
Might be below the video. Might be able to turn it up.
Right. No, it's on full. Let me try. Let me play it.
It's your PC.
Maybe everyone mute themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be a point. Yeah, that might be a point. Okay.
And so they basically didn't buy into the concept of structural oppression, apart from human supremacy, which they did seem to buy into. But any other kind of oppressions, they definitely didn't see the structural side. And I know that because I spent basically the best part of 2.5 hours trying to go through it, drawing analogies, which people in the comments could see as accurate, but nobody on the panel could do. So these people included a female Trump supporter, a vegan YouTuber who makes his living by quote unquote selling gay pornography, although he's not gay, and that somebody in the comments said meant dick pics. And
Oh dear.
Well, yeah. Straight away. Sorry, I'm thinking, why have you even brought up homosexuality, pornography? Why have you even done that? You said earlier, Dan, that she does research. Apparently, she claims to do research.
She claims to be, later in the video, we hear her say, she claims to be an investigative reporter.
Well, I mean,
She must have been shit at her job.
So she's not very good at a job, because for a start, Vegan Gains doesn't sell anything. He's got a fans only page, which means people subscribe to pay to see. Okay, dick pics means when you send a picture of your penis to an unwilling participant, like the ones I send regular to Vegan Pixie Warrior. Joking.
I love them. I've sent everyone. They're beautiful.
Have you realised they're not mine yet?
Yeah, I kind of realised that from the colour.
And what has, I mean, Vegan Gains doesn't earn his living. He's been working hard, very, very hard for quite a number of years building up his YouTube channel. That's where his income comes from. He's decided he can make a little bit of money doing this, albeit all good to him. If people want to see someone's willy and pay money for it when there's free porn online, let them. Good luck to him. You know, I see this with a lot of people, like these people who see these buy a £500 kitchen for a £5,000 kitchen for 500 quid, and people are that dumb to go and actually pay. I think good luck to the guys who are selling these to people. You know, if you're that stupid and greedy, that you know, I'm digressing anyway. But anyway, so why does it have to be gay? Why does it have to be gay porn? Just because he's got a picture of himself? Do women not like looking at willies or something?
I think she should have focused on actually watching the video back before she did a rebuttal on it, because Vegan Gays said to her, so you're telling us that because we have been brought up with these systemic racist things built into when we've been brought up in society and things like that. He was saying, so you're saying you're homophobic and you're a racist? And he's like, because I'm not homophobic and I don't mind gay people watching my OnlyFans, is what he was saying. And all she's taken from that, this is the problem, she wasn't listening to anybody throughout that whole video. All she was doing was concentrating on her own, my hero. All she was doing was concentrating on her own voice. And he said that he has gay people watching some of his videos and he doesn't mind that. He doesn't make them specifically for gay people. But who was saying, I can't remember who it said, that, you know, gay people do watch, you know, pornographic. I think it was B earlier today. You know, pornographic stuff is made to, you know, the men act towards women and towards women in that, men in that, because they know they're going to be watching.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Welcome to Vegan Mooncat.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine and dandy, Paul. How do I turn the sound up on the video?
It was
fine when we were all muted.
Oh, was it all right once everyone was muted? Right, okay. Yeah. Has anybody got anything else to say about what we've shown so far, or shall I carry on with the video? Mark, have you got anything you want to just add before we move on?
Oh
my God, right, okay. Get a drink, everybody.
No, I must admit, I mean, I did find it... when she first came in, like you just mentioned before, and the first words out of her mouth where I saw 4 little white faces on this stream, I thought, number one, I said, that's a very sort of inflammatory comment straight off the bat, isn't it? Really, there, you know, just to start digging into us and make people get wound up, in my opinion. And the other thing I thought was, you're just assuming that the only people who suffer racism, etc., are people of a certain ethnic background. I mean, how does she know, for instance, that that Grumpy Vegan Grandad didn't go to a school where it was 80% sort of Asian people or something, or maybe he was educated.
Well,
in
let me interject there. We do you remember we had some riots not long ago, and we have got two areas that are mainly Muslim areas, or Pakistani or Bengali, right? You cannot walk through as a white person. Yeah.
Exactly. She has no idea what you've suffered. You may have been the subject of a racially motivated attack because you were white.
Oh, I've run from cars full of Asian guys on a number of times, but I will not.
I mean, it can happen to anybody. I mean, it can absolutely happen to anyone.
I will not say all Asians are like that.
No, of course not.
So not at all. I've got some very good Asian friends.
It was very presumptuous of her and very inflammatory, to assume. And then even when that you said you had, because she wanted to talk about race, obviously, that's all she wanted to talk about. Even when you said you had a perspective on it from the other end of the spectrum, from when you were younger and you'd had all the rhetoric to sort of like indoctrinate.
Yeah.
And I can't say the word indoctrinate you into that sort of racist sort of lifestyle. And you were saying how obviously you pulled yourself out of that. And
Mike, I mean, have you always lived in Blackpool? Sorry to interrupt. Have you always lived in Blackpool?
I'm Blackpool. Yes, that's
right.
Me.
So you've had Bernard Manning there. You've had Chubby Brown there.
Yeah,
you've had all the racist comics there. And growing up in the North, racism has always been here. It's been a big part of the psyche of the North. I mean, I've always said, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Mark, you can walk into a pub and tell a racist joke and you'll get a laugh. It's not completely
years, especially because I'm from the 70s, obviously. So it's very rife in those days as well. A lot, in my opinion, a lot worse than it was today. And the other thing I wanted to say to him is because I mean, I don't know how far you're along in the video, so I don't want to speak before you.
Early days, mate. Early days. So
have you. Yeah, so she's assuming all sorts of things about the people on the stream before they've even had a chance to speak. I mean, you hadn't even been on that long, to be honest with you.
No, I was simply putting my case forward about
how you were just getting into things. And you mean race? Yeah. I'm sure race wouldn't have stayed as the primary topic throughout the entire stream if that's where she hadn't made it go the whole entire stream. Yeah.
She didn't mention you though, Vegan Mooncat. She didn't mention you at all.
She didn't mention me.
No,
wow. That's because I was so mild to her.
We'll get to that. You no spoilers, please, Vegan Pixie Warrior. No spoilers. Come on.
I did watch her response earlier, and I thought, not even a mention.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, she didn't even mention me, but she's certainly given it me on Facebook as a reply to a comment that I gave her. But anyway, right.
I did like her. I don't know if you've watched it back since, but I did like her actual face when she was speaking to Richard, and she goes, "Who are you anyway?" And he went, "Well, I'm Richard. You can just call me Vegan Gains." And she went, "Vegan Gains." She was like, "Oh, right, okay."
Well, I
didn't realise.
Well, we are going through the response video. You do realise that, don't you, Mark? It's her response to the video.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Right. Let's carry on.
I'll just talk for England. You have to shut me up.
Shut up, Mark. Right. Okay. Let's carry on.
Mute themselves.
Yeah, please mute. Are we good?
And a couple of other people. So it all became very intense. At the end of it, I felt it was a learning, growing experience. I was at a certain point, I thought, well, let's just stick with this. When I realized they were all basically ganging up on me. But, let's just see where it all ends up, because it was a new thing for me. And as an investigative journalist, I mean, my background is investigative journalism. I've done stories from Asia, where I've stayed in Thai hill tribe villages, where there are gangs of agents who try and get children from their parents for sexual purposes, sexual trafficking. I've done stories from India about female infanticide, killing girl babies. done stories from Bangladesh about from refugee camps, Rohingya refugees, and maternal health. So it's not like I'm a shrinking violet. At the end of that 2.5 hours, like I said, it was an interesting experience. And I didn't actually see it as bullying until friends were starting to say they watched it and they're like, well, they were laughing at you.
So, do you want to unmute now? Yeah, so basically she's saying she's not a shrinking violet, so she can stand up for herself. She's been on to all these strife-ridden countries, so she's not shrinking violet, but she's bringing up the bullying. Now, to me, bullying does not mean you're surrounded with people that have a different view from you. Bullying is when people put you down, personal attacks on you, right? Her friends said people were laughing at her. We were not laughing at her personally. We were laughing at the ridiculous situation of her avoiding questions. Nobody was laughing at her personally.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with that.
It was just a ridiculous situation is what we were laughing at. It was just frustrating. It was like she's not getting it. And we were trying so hard. I know personally I was trying really hard to understand what she was going on about. And I watched through the video a few times because I thought, did I just, did we just misunderstand this woman? I honestly did watch the video trying to understand her. And I realized what it was. She came in immediately thinking that she was there to educate us about what oppression was. Like we didn't know that. We had moved beyond that. We were talking about whether or not we need to include other oppressions in our activism for the animals, but she was there to just tell us the fundamentals of what oppression was. Like we didn't know. And that's what she kept going on and on about. And that's why it was so frustrating. It's like, what's your point here? It's kind of like you're having your audition.
Like talking to Trump, right?
It's like you're auditioning guitars for your band and she comes in and thinks she's going to teach you how to play music. It's like, move on. We already know that. We're waiting for your guitar solo. Just get to the point. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's a good analogy, but that's the only thing I can think of right now.
I get what Vegan Gate is saying. It was uncomfortable to watch because, it was 5 against 1, but she didn't let anyone get a word in edgeways at all.
Well, we tried to ask her questions.
Yeah. She wouldn't let anyone talk.
You see,
I don't think she felt bullied at all. I mean, if anything, I thought she was a bully in a different kind of way. I mean, there's different types of bullying. There's they're pushing somebody over so they fall on their arse. They're shouting abusive sort of things at them. And then there's quietly and sort of like passively aggressive sort of attitude where you just, acted like she did. I think she was putting GVG down. I think she belittled Stacey's heritage. With the American Native American part, there was all sorts of things she was doing there to, in a very rude, bullying manner. And if she felt that bullied, she'd have just ended the stream and gone off it. There was no bully. Don't get me wrong.
It took her friends. It took her friends to tell her that she was being bullied for her to realize she was being bullied.
Yeah.
And there was only a couple of people that said that they thought she was being bullied. There was only a couple of people. Everybody else was as frustrated as we were. I mean, that's why you came in, Vegan Mooncat. That's why you ended up coming in. And when you said Blair Witch, I lost it. I'm sorry. That was just fucking funny. That was fun.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean that was a specific case of bullying. Vegan Mooncat came in and he kicked her ass and he bullied her. But previous to that,
and then when we
previous to that, I've got to disagree with Vegan Pixie Warrior, right? It doesn't matter how it looks, right? She wasn't forced into that situation. We didn't go to her house.
I know. And the thing is, I know this woman. She lives in the same city as me. I know her. I have been the brunt of her attacks. They've been personally focused on me. She's mentioned me in her YouTube channel. She hasn't used my name, but she has mentioned me specifically in her YouTube channels. She slagged off the city that I live in, saying, begging another activist to come and help us out because we don't have enough activists doing events. Bristol is one of the most active cities in the UK, like outside of London. There is so much going on here. Obviously, outside of lockdown, there's so much going on. I have only seen her at one of my events in 2 years of being active. She said about me that I've only been active 2 years, so I have no right to look at being a full-time activist. I don't care if you've been active a day or if you've been active for 40 years. I don't give a shit. I just want you to be active. And if you want to do it full-time, then I'm going to like sing you up and praise you up. But this woman doesn't do anything in our city. All she does is push her YouTube channel on all the activist pages, and all her YouTube channel does is put down other vegans. I'm fed up of this now. I don't want to do that. We can't. How does that make us look if all we're doing is putting down other vegan activists? We should be lifting each other up and praising each other. I don't agree with everything, every form of activism, but I sure as hell know that what suits me isn't going to suit someone else. Sorry, rant over.
I agree with you. I mean, you know, it's like we're reacting right now. It's not to put her down; it's to defend ourselves, really. But I mean, like,
agreed.
A few minutes before this stream started, I even think, I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me, maybe this is a colloquialism, because she wrote a comment to me. It says "AV organizer on message." What is that? What's that?
She's
mean?
very anti-AV.
But what's on message mean? That's not a term we use. On message.
Because I think she thinks that because Paul and Asal are anti-intersectional and apolitical, she thinks that every single AV organizer and volunteer feels exactly the same as they do, which is not the case.
No, we all have our own opinions.
Exactly. And you said this in a video that you did the other week as well. And I'm the same. I don't agree with everything that Paul and Asal say. But I was an organizer for 2 years, and it was a gateway into activism. And I think the Anonymous for the Voiceless and the Cuba Truth is a great form of activism.
Yeah. I mean, personal attacks like that. I mean, she's clever enough not to name you by name.
Yes, I know.
But you knew that she was talking about you.
Yes,
she couldn't have been talking about anybody else, Rebecca. This is what I'm trying to.
That post came up within 24 hours of me making a post saying I was starting up my YouTube channel, and it was a personal attack on me. And also the way she's got the new job from is because I've been at the same company for 7 years, and I started a new role in January. And we used to be friends on Facebook. Well, not anymore. I've deleted her after she made those comments about me. But for her saying started a new job in January, no, I've been in that role for 7 years. I work full time, Monday to Friday, from like 7 in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon. That's my, I do flexi time, but I choose to work that early shift. I work my ass off, and trying to fit in activism on the side is really hard.
What does a hive mind mean?
Pardon?
What does a hive mind mean? Read that.
Hive mind, it means you all think the same, doesn't it? It's
like
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the vegan gazers. I like that comment because so a while back, we actually had an AV, and we had a group organising it, and we were going to go, and it was at the time when AV, they were getting a bit in trouble, weren't they, with the whole BLM post they did. Yeah, is that right? And there was a gay member in the group. I think there was a couple, and they said that they weren't going to come because they didn't feel safe because it was just had the AV name under it. And we said, well, actually, no, I'm quite offended about that because you think that me and the others are homophobic, or racist. You know what I mean? It's like, no, they're like, oh no, we don't feel safe because it's part of that umbrella. They have the views you're important to sell, so you must have the same views as well. It's like, well, no, that's not what it's like. And it's the same thing with, if you're slightly right wing, if you're a Trump supporter, or if you're a conservative supporter, you must be racist, you must be this, you must be that. It's like, well, no, I'm vegan, I care about the animals. All these oppressions we all agree with, right? All normal people, all good people, we all agree with their oppressions. They do exist, yeah. But our goal, us as vegan activists, animal rights activists, our goal is animals, animal rights. If you want to be like a big, be in the BLM marches, you're proper like anti-racism, which is fine. That's brilliant, of course, massively important, But what I don't get is that they have these views saying, if you're conservative, if you're a Trump supporter, I'm not going to do a animal rights march with you. But they're happy to go to like a BLM march with non-vegans.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy.
It stands out a mile, doesn't it? It does stand out a mile. Let's move forward on this video and
Mute.
Mute. Share audio.
And it was bullying. So I started to think, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, it's Christmas Eve, got other things to do, have a good Christmas. Tra-la-la-la. But then I saw a response video by Michelle talking about how it was all, basically she didn't see it as bullying. And, it was because I was getting flustered because I wasn't used to live streaming. But as I said, I've done live radio, sort of like national radio, local radio. My background isn't exactly a shrinking violet. And that just kind of pushed a few buttons for me. And then I started to think, well, this is kind of quite confusing, really, because, Michelle is a psychologist, which is great. And she is part of the psychologist kind of, you have code of conduct, don't you? And presumably a psychologist is pretty aware of things like bullying. So that was also somewhat confusing. And then I saw her trotting out a similar line. Well, no, then I saw her being interviewed by Roger Yates. The next day, it was like a running series of stuff happening, which is one of the reasons I thought I'll do this, because it's like, well, why don't I just join in, So Roger Yates was interviewing her on a one-to-one, very respectful way about alt-right and veganism. And I noticed that, at certain times she was like really digging deep. There were long pauses. She was thinking about it, maybe squirming around a bit. And I thought, and that was a 15-minute, very respectful one-to-one interview. And I thought, well, that's interesting. This is an experienced YouTuber. And that's when I started to think, well, what is really going on? Because these are issues that we need to somehow resolve within the vegan community or not community, whatever's going on. And it seems to be attempting to become ever more fragmented, because we simply can't get our heads around this sort of notion of structural oppression.
So a couple of things she said there. Michelle Lowe, you naughty, naughty person. You've got a code of conduct.
I thought Michelle was just being nice about her at that point, to be honest.
Exactly. So obviously, if Michelle's a psychologist and she recognises bullying, she would have recognised bullying if it had been happening. So she would have said something, but there was no bullying happening, so she didn't say anything. Point number one.
Said at one point, I wasn't trying to be rude to her, but she was dominating the conversation. She
was the overall bully. And to say that nobody got about systemic oppression, you all said that you're against oppression of all beings.
Yeah, that's the thing. She kept trying to school us on what oppression was when we were trying to move past that and talk about, we already knew what that was,
Let's talk about the animals.
Yeah, she just kept trying to explain it to us over and over again like we were stupid,
There is a link there if anybody wants to join. I've just put it in the chat again. Yeah, and then she moves on to say about fragmenting the vegan message. And yeah, I sat through 2 hours of not one mention of the voiceless. Not one mention, because we were too busy trying to fathom out what structural oppression is. Now, Pamela might think I'm just some big northern monkey, from Oldham, who doesn't think, right? But I've spent all day looking at structural oppression. And I agree it is there. I agree there's structural oppression. I agree that we are blind to it. Yeah, I totally agree. But I cannot see how what I do in my vegan advocacy can help the oppressive side of it. All I can do is make other people aware that it does go on. But calling people, all right, yes, we might be indoctrinated and unconsciously homophobic, racist, sexist. We might be that because of the way we've been conditioned, like Mike said about growing up in the 70s. In the 70s, we were watching Love Thy Neighbour. Stacey, it was a program about a black family moving in next to a white family, and they called each other names. Wog,
all in the family.
Blackie, yeah. So they called each other names, and we had a lot of programs like that. I mean, we didn't have a problem with paedophiles at the time because they were all on TV presenting children's shows, and so we were fine. We knew where the paedophiles were, so that was fine in the 70s.
I think you've sort of nailed it on the head when you said how she felt about you, and she
made an assumption because I'm a bald-headed, rough-looking guy.
Everyone, in my opinion, and I don't know if I've got this wrong, I got the impression while watching it, because I was outside for the first part, obviously, and I was watching you guys. I got the general impression she thought Michelle was her intellectual equal, if you will, and that Michelle and her were on the same path because they're both they're both academics and they've both got a certain level of intelligence. And I got the general impression she didn't feel the same about the rest of you, and that she thought she had this assumption that you were all a bit too stupid to get these concepts that she was actually trying to pump, trying to tell everyone. But she kept going on until it twigged in your tiny little brains, and that you actually managed to get it because you're just not that bright, and she's going to educate you. That's the way I got it, and that's why she kept pumping it out. And whenever Michelle would speak, she got a little giddy. I think she's a bit of a Michelle fan, or she was.
But she's not anymore.
But the rest of you, and me when I got on there, but I don't think I gave her enough opportunity to talk to me about things, But I genuinely think she thought she was above everyone on an intellectual level, and thought that she needed to educate us poor simple folk on how things actually are.
I think you hit it right on the head. That's exactly how, when I watched it over and over again, that's how it hit me. I was like, that's why we were getting so frustrated. It's like, all right, we get it. Now can we move on? And but she didn't think we got it. And so she kept trying to talk down to us. I mean, like reprimanding us. Like when I used the term thought police, she told me I was being childish.
I love that term.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's a perfect term for what I'm trying to explain here. But she reprimanded us for little things like, hey, no, I didn't say that. Talking down to us like we were being stupid little children. And, that's, yeah, you hit it right on the head.
Well, Michelle's invited on the Facebook post. She's actually invited Pamela onto a private one-to-one stream. So there's a perfect opportunity to go face-to-face with their academic equal, and they can thrash it out between them,
Or she can do therapy.
I look forward to that. I look forward to that.
Stop
if you
bullying.
have a look at her, stop bullying. If you have a look at her YouTube channel and have a look at her Facebook page, it is all hatred towards white male activists.
Is it really? Is it really, Rebecca?
Hugely. She can't stand Earth and Ed. She really can't stand Earth and Ed.
I've seen that, yeah. And why? Why is she picking on him for?
We're picking on Ed.
Yeah, why?
Earthling Ed. I saw that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
White savior is what she said, or something like that.
Yeah, and Patreon as well. But then, white male saviors. So that's the ones that she hates. And don't get me wrong, I think James Aspey had his day, and I think he is a bit of a dick, to be honest. But Joey, I think is fantastic, and Ed, I think, is also fantastic. I think that Ed has had a massive reach, and I'm not diminishing any of the activists that have gone before him, because I've got Ronnie Lee on my channel next week, and he's amazing. Like, he's the founder of ALF. Ronnie Lee's my absolute hero. The guy is fantastic, and I've only been vegan for 3 years. No one's the expert on it, and Pamela herself has only been vegan for 6 years. So, she hasn't.
I've been vegan for 15 years, so.
Well, yeah, but you're a Trump supporter, Stacey.
I'm sure.
Okay, let's move on a little bit. Let's have a look at I think there's not much left of this video, but let's have a look at what else she's got to say.
Let's hope.
Structural oppression just doesn't seem to exist in most people's minds. Although, as I said, it's valid for human supremacy and speciesism. Yeah, we vegans can definitely get that one. But the concept that we may be structurally racist, structurally sexist, structurally homophobic, not because we choose to, but because we've been brought up in a propaganda cloud since we were, babies, to believe these things. And it's only with some degree of consciousness work that we can even recognize it and then start to challenge it. And that challenging doesn't happen on a one-off basis. It happens on an ongoing basis. And this seems to be territory where no vegans are going to go. It's not about wearing a hair shirt. It's about, well, let's just get real and see how our own sexism, racism, human supremacism, etc., impacts on our campaigning, both within the vegan space and within the non-vegan space, which doesn't seem to be a sort of like a radical or controversial thing to say. Well, that's where I'm wrong, clearly. So I just thought, as I said, I wanted to not set the record straight, but I just thought, well, everybody else is sort of like hopping in there. So I'm going to hop in with my version of it. And it was a learning experience.
So,
can I say something real quick before I lose my
yeah, I'm just a little bit itchy because I've got my hair underpants on. Sorry. Go on, carry on.
I don't appreciate when people like try to put their own problems off on everyone else. Like if she's somehow been working on herself and recognizes that she has some kind of ingrained homophobia or whatever she might have, you don't get to brush everybody else with that. You don't get to say everybody else has that problem. I just don't appreciate that being put on me. How does she know that I haven't gone through and examined this stuff on my own years ago? I'm in my 50s. Maybe I took a good hard look at myself in my 20s. She doesn't know that. But so she can't I don't like people telling me I'm homophobic when it's patently untrue. I don't like people telling me I'm racist when that is patently untrue. And that might be true of herself, but she can't say everybody is just because we were raised in this world.
So are gay people homophobic then as well? I
guess so. I mean,
so I'm homophobic because I'm bisexual, so therefore I'm homophobic.
Yeah, and I think Faith got a little irritated in the stream with that too.
What annoyed me about that with Faith as well is that Faith introduced herself and she didn't listen, and she said, "Sorry, I don't know what your name is. I can't see the screen because it's really small." Well, Faith had told you her name, and you were that ignorant that and that self-obsessed, you didn't even listen to what Faith was saying. She had to repeat the fact that she was disabled a number of times before Pamela even acknowledged it. Yeah, I wanted to point out that comment from Fear of the Vegan Planet. What did Roger say? I'd love to know.
Oh, I'm wondering if Fear of a Vegan Planet is talking about right after I talked to Roger. I got off. Pamela was on there. Thank God.
I started watching it, but I didn't have time to.
I was so worried she was going to speak up, and I just wanted to talk to Roger. And he and I may not necessarily see eye to eye, but at least he was respectful, and we had a respectful conversation. Well, then I had to get off of there. I had to take care of my dogs, but I left it on, and I could hear her talking. As soon as I got off, she started talking about our conversation, and she started saying shit. Like, I'm so glad Roger walked off. He had to go do something as well, but she was talking to Tom Gail Batten about it. And she just kept going on and on about the conversation on Michelle's page. And some of the shit she was saying, I was like, I should get back on there. But I was like, no, you know what? I'm just going to let her go ahead and have her say, and just let her go on and babble about it.
You see the thing.
Go ahead.
Well, you see, the thing is, though, I mean, my point is, from what she's just said, if she'd have come onto the stream and spoke about what she had to speak about like she just did then, she would have got a lot more engagement from everybody. If she'd have come on and calmly said, look, this is what I'm talking about. It's it's what we've been all indoctrinated in since we were born, and that we don't realise that. She's not saying everybody is homophobic, racist, sexist. What she's saying is that the society we live in is geared up to push these people out and make it worse. Just like the whole of society is geared up to keep the poor and the rich richer. It's not something that we all think about. We just get on with life and do what we got to do. So if she'd have come on and explained it like that, maybe she would have had a different reaction.
Even if she had, I don't see the point, because she's saying that, you know, everyone's inherently sort of got all these prejudices, but every single person that was on the stream was saying they didn't care about what anyone was, whether or not they were, you know, they were gay or they were black or you know, or whatever. They were saying that didn't matter, you know, as far as vegan activism was concerned. So I don't see how she thinks. Say this is in your head. Say, like it is for her. Say you've got that all in your head, and you're homophobic, and you don't like black people, and blah blah blah, and that's all in her head. I mean, I don't know why she thinks it's in everyone else's. You know, because she read a book saying that everyone's got these these things.
That is the intersectional view. Is that, you know, that everybody is, and that we all should self-flagellate and say what horrible people we are. And
but if you all had those things, why would you be saying that, you know, nobody's sort of ethnic background, you know, their you know, their race, you know, or anything else, it didn't matter to you, that you would still stand toe to toe with them and do vegan activism? So I don't see why she was saying that you all had to address these things if you're saying that it wouldn't cause you a problem, like, you know, standing toe to toe to do veganism with people. I'm maybe missing something. I don't know.
That's the other thing as well. She's saying she was bullied, but like, I think I joined maybe half an hour into that live stream on Michelle's channel, but Michelle, just amazing, by the way. And like, agree with everything that you said. But Roger Yates was on there. I don't know how long he was on there for. Did he actually say anything? Because I haven't watched it from the beginning. And he ended up just dropping out of the chat because she wasn't. And what I was shocked about is I watched that video with you, Stacey, today on Roger Yates's channel, and she didn't say a word all the way through it. But do you know what else I noticed?
she wasn't looking at me either.
She wasn't looking. She wasn't focusing. She was fiddling. She was looking through some paperwork or something. She did not pay attention to anything you were saying. And then she was messing with her headphones for ages. Even when Roger was talking, all you could hear was like, I don't know if it'll work now, but I don't know if you can. No, you can't hear that. But she was messing with the cable on her headphones for ages.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is,
disrespectful.
the thing is though, right? If she was being bullied and she was alone against these 4 anti-intersectionalists, right? And Roger Yates was there. If Roger had thought that she was being bullied and she needed help, wouldn't he have come on and come to her aid? Plus, she was talking about stuff that he sort of talks about anyway. So why did he not come on to back her? I don't understand that neither. So there's something amiss somewhere along the line between those two as well, because surely if she's trying to get a point across to 4 people, which what is Roger's trying to do, is trying to get people on board with this way of thinking, surely he would have jumped in to help her. So something was amiss along the line, as far as I can see.
I would have actually appreciated to hear what Roger had to say.
Stupid vegan wants to come in. She's in the waiting room, Grumpy. Sorry.
I can't see her.
Sorry, Stacey.
Do I need to remove somebody, because I can't see anybody in the waiting room? Right, Ongrami, she's just connected now. She's just connecting. Device is not connected. There we go. Right,
I would
okay.
have loved to have heard from Roger, and actually, I would have really liked to have heard more from Faith during that stream.
Yeah.
Yes, so would I.
Hello, stupid vegan. Hello, stupid vegan. You're on the stream.
Check your mic,
Right.
vegan.
If you can hear me, stupid vegan, I feel awful saying this. I feel like a bully.
No.
Oi, stupid vegan.
All right.
There you
It's
go.
kind of echoey.
Oh, I can hear you.
But
I can hear you
You
fine.
have-
If
I
Stream
don't know if
on.
I'm coming good, but it's echoey.
Have you
You're
still
not-
got YouTube running?
Yeah, turn off YouTube.
turn off YouTube and put some earphones on if you can, because you're very quiet.
Yeah, I'm in here. Is it echoing on my end?
No, you sound fine to us.
It's probably an echo. I did it earlier. If you don't mute your YouTube, you're going to hear it through your StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
You're better off turning YouTube off completely.
Yeah,
and
close
just
YouTube down completely.
Yeah.
and then you can, when you drop off, you can still drop back onto the stream.
Hello.
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 Hello. Oh, it's better now. Yeah, I don't have the camera on because I have a huge gash on my head. But I thought Pam was largely virtue signaling. That it seemed like
In this video that we're showing now, or when we're on the other video.
the one where the live one when you were all talking.
In what way do you think she was virtue signaling?
Well, she didn't. She was talking about how she had a problem with nobody being represented, but multiple people came on who could have been represented, and she chose to ignore them. She ignored Faith. She ignored Vegan Gains, and also she was talking about all these prejudices she had and how being aware of it helped. But she didn't really give any examples.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
That's the point. Yeah, correct. She didn't give any examples.
That's the thing. If you don't agree with them, you're dismissed. As whatever, disability or skin color or whatever, you're dismissed as like you don't belong to that group because you disagree with me. You know what I mean?
But also, how is anyone supposed to fix anything if she doesn't say, well, I've dealt with this prejudice, I've dealt with this belief that I personally had, and I had to overcome it. She's like, well, I'm doing better than everyone else because I acknowledge I have these prejudices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'll call you SV. I don't like saying stupid vegan. SV. I agree with you totally, because this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for examples of where this way of thinking can help the animals. Now, if she'd have come along and said, right, look, we did this and this helped poor black people in this country to get out of poverty, and now a lot of them are going to go vegan because now they can get to the supermarkets, they can afford the food, they don't have to have processed crap animal foods to eat. Now they can get good vegan food to eat. I would have gone, right, okay, wow, that works. I'm on board with that now.
That would be a good example. Or even saying what beliefs she personally has dealt with and how she overcame them. Like
Exactly.
Everyone says veganism is oppressive, but it's hard because the only examples of intersectionality type criticism I usually see is it's racist to tell people to go vegan. It's homophobic to tell people to go vegan. It's not. It's anti-abolitionist. This
is my point all along. SV is that from the moment I very first heard intersectionalism mentioned, which was Aaron, I'm easy vegan, I've not heard anything positive. I've only heard attacks, put downs. I've not heard anything positive from any intersectionalist supporter or intersectionalist. All I've heard is attacks and negativity. And splitting and dividing. That's all I've heard at the moment. I'm still open to it. I am still open to be convinced. I always will be. I will never ever put anything down. I will never ever make judgments or assertions against anything until I've seen it either working or not working, and then I'm happy. But until that point, I am always open. I always will be, and I always have been.
Yeah, have you seen too? Most of the people who are advocating for intersectional are anti-abolitionist.
The welfareists.
They say that not everyone can go quote
Vegan.
100% vegan.
Yeah, that was the whole thing that like Richard was trying to get to about Indian culture. Well, what if you're trying to be pro-intersectionalist and you're saying that Indians don't need to stop killing animals? Is basically what
I've heard
the point
it called
was.
cultural genocide before.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, me being part Native American, I've been in groups where I've talked to Native Americans about veganism. I've gotten death threats from Native Americans. So it's like, you're not allowed to question the culture. And that's the whole problem with intersectionality and these people. It's like, and then if you do, you're automatically a Trump supporter, or you're automatically alt-right, or they need to push you out, and then they need to get you canceled. You know?
Yeah,
This
like
is
if
the
there
problem.
was examples of people saying, "Oh, I'm from this group, and I'm vegan, and I feel other vegans aren't the most inclusive," or whatever. I feel like that would be something we could listen to. But most of the stuff I hear about it, first of all, a lot of times it's from people not from that group, and they're also complaining that people are talk on their behalf, which is pretty hypocritical, and it's also often anti-abolitionist as well.
Yeah, I find it very offensive when people speak up for oppressed people of other groups. You know, like she talked about Earthling Ed being white savior. Well, that's basically the complex that some of these intersectionalists have, or what people will call themselves intersectionalists, is they have this savior complex. You know,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah.
For other, people of human animals of oppressed sections, they have this savior complex about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's rude, because that's in a way talking down to those people, like they're like children, like you have to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and animals don't really have the same ability to communicate in the way we do and be heard as people do. So there's a
Exactly.
level of respect that people don't realize when they say, "Oh, why are you just advocating for animals?" Well, animals can't speak for themselves in the same way.
They don't have a
So it would be
voice.
disrespectful. Yeah, it would. Yeah, they
Do-
don't have
They
a voice.
do have a voice, but we can't understand what they're saying.
You know,
I
and
do agree with that statement. Like, they're
They
not
have a
voices.
voice.
They do have a voice. We just can't understand them.
Yeah, not the same. They don't have the same ability to communicate in the way humans do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak on this as well. Chickpea Sani says, I've had woke people tell me that going vegan is a white privilege. Well,
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
how is it privileged to eat food that is like the cheapest food on the planet? The poorest people on this planet are vegan, so it certainly doesn't stand up that
That's an argument all the
veganism-
time.
I've got
Just-
I said I didn't think veganism, the definition automatically included people, but I said I do think people should stand up for people like racism, for example, homophobia, for example, and the person called me privileged and bigoted for saying that.
Yeah.
And I'm a vegan.
Yeah, like I said, it just seems to just breed a split, divide, polarize people, and it doesn't seem anything positive seems to come. But again, I will say I'm still open to be persuaded into this way of thinking. I'm still open to it if
one
it
thing
helps my
about-
vegan advocacy.
Intersectionality too, though, is people can be is the idea with intersectionality is it's overlapping oppression. The same thing doesn't really apply to veganism because we're not talking about overlapping oppressions with the victim. We're talking about ways that we can make the advocates feel more included and not oppressed.
You got it right there. You got it right there. We're talking about human-centric issues and how it our oppressions. When we're talking about animals, it doesn't overlap with our oppression. You know, they are the victims. They're the only victims of that. They're not like experiencing racism. They're not experiencing ageism or sexism. You know, they have their own oppression. And by the way, when we say voiceless, I try to explain to people like in a law, it's like they have no voice in society or in the law.
Mm.
You know?
No, agreed, Stacey. And that was something that resonated with me as well.
Yeah.
Going back to what you just said, when I watched your chat with Roger Yates on his stream.
Yeah.
And you were talking to him about like the non-human animal oppression. And he was saying that, we need to focus on all oppressions. Well, that in its own right is oppressive because we're putting human values at the same level as non-human animal values when non-human animals are the most oppressed beings on the planet. Like, if we were to kill humans at the same rate that we kill animals,
We'd be
then
gone.
we'd be gone in a week. It's ridiculous to put ourselves. It's selfish. We've been fighting. You know, women are still oppressed. You know, in the East, women are massively oppressed. I am intersectional when it comes to human beings, 110%.
Yeah.
I get that those things cross over. I'm a bisexual woman that has been oppressed for my sexual choices and the fact that I am a female of the species. And that's something I've had to deal with. You know, it's not as bad now as it was like 20 years ago. You couldn't, like, you know, not saying that I was hot or anything, but I would walk down the street and I'd get wolf whistled and I didn't like it. It made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't like being wolf whistled by builders on a building site. It pissed me off.
I love
really
it.
did.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I know you do. That's why I always wolf whistle you, Grumpy, because you're getting old now, so it doesn't happen.
I wiggle my ass.
See,
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing you get to look forward to is when you get older, you get to start to experience ageism, which does happen. And like, you know, like you're saying, we all recognize this. We all recognize these things.
Exactly.
yeah.
We did in the stream on Michelle's channel. We all recognized that, but she came in acting like she had to explain it to us.
I mean, it's what I said to Pam on the stream as well, because she was talking about all these things. And I was saying to her, as soon, and she proved it obviously on the stream, but when you start talking about human oppression and human issues, then the animals' oppression and their issues take a back seat. Because humans will talk about themselves and get more obsessed with their own problems any day of the week than they will, you know, the animals. So if that's it, and then that's all it would become. I mean, I think I thought I've said it on the stream or I've said it somewhere else, but if vegans went like fully intersectional and they were taking, you'd see headlines instead of seeing headlines like farmer donates 67 cows, you know, save 67 cows and puts them in a sanctuary. You start seeing headlines like vegan vegan festival wouldn't let this guy come on because they thought he was a racist. You know, you couldn't take part. You know, you'd start getting other issues muddied in with it, and before you know it, the focus would completely go off the animals, and it'd be all the headlines would I think they'd start changing. You know, and everything in the news, and people would just go, "Oh, vegans don't include these people," or vegan aligns themselves with this group. You know. And
But we don't have to have the same, you know, opinion on abortion. You know, that's even a human. It's just
Even vegan
really,
games
really
spoke
messy.
up against, like, when John Rose, he spoke up against him. Does anyone remember that, when a ton of vegans were even like anti-intersectionalists? Does anyone know who John? He's a white supremacist. He's like a neo-Nazi. He's
okay.
But everybody spoke up against him, really.
Of course they will. Of course they will. People say stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
That's
right, listen.
Like, even if they say they're anti-intersectional, I feel like you can be anti-intersectional. I do and stand up against racism within the movement, and I do think that's important as well. But how they get, a lot of times intersectionalists will be more into semantics than solving actual problems.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can be homophobic and racist, or you can be racist and anti-racist and homophobic. You know, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. It
does make sense. It does make sense because there's a lot of African countries that are obviously totally anti-racist, but are totally homophobic. You know, it's just part of certain cultures.
And I've known some gay people that were racist.
Yeah. I'm with Michelle, like 100%. I want a vegan world, and I'm 44, and I want a vegan world in my lifetime, and I know that is like, you know, a pie in the sky sort of dream, but to do that, unfortunately, you never know. We have to have these people vegan. I got called because I did an animal rights march in Bristol with George Martin. I got called anti-feminist by a woman that like got married. I was like, I got married not because I wanted to. I got married because I had to, for a different reason I'm not going to go into on this stream because it's personal. But I kept my name. I kept my maiden name because that's how much of a feminist I am. I don't agree with marriage. I don't agree with the institution of marriage. And I wanted to keep my own identity. The whole reason women take on males, the man's name is because they're passed on from ownership from their father to their husband. So, and I said to this woman that was accusing me of being a feminist, like, you got married and you took your husband's name and you had a big white wedding in a show. Who's the freaking feminist? Like, I am, not you. But yeah. So.
Yeah. But also,
Right,
I
listen.
wanted to point out, like, when, you know, she dismissed when you said, you know, you had the viewpoint, Grumpy, that you had the viewpoint of being an ex-racist. I think something like that is actually very helpful to our movement, because that's like having an ex-hunter or an ex-butcher. You know, it gives us, you can let us know, you can let us know what goes on in somebody's mind when, you know, when they're going through that. And it's great that, you know, you came out of that and you had the guts to even, you know, confess that.
Well, I'm a reasonable human being. I mean, why would I not admit that? Why would I not admit that?
That's what I'm saying. It's like some people wouldn't, but you know, that could help us really, like, having some people would just because you said that, even though you said X, would automatically dismiss you and say that, you know, you don't belong in the movement. There are some people that would.
Something about vegans, most of us have come from a place of eating animal products, so I do think our movement
it's similar. Yeah, of course.
More
Yeah.
understanding than most.
Yeah, correct.
Movements.
So why couldn't we believe that if we accept some of these people into the movement, that they might not change their minds about other things?
Exactly, Stacey.
You know?
And
that's true.
Yeah, and it's the same as what Michelle said as well. And that's why I agree with what you just said and what Michelle says. Maybe veganism is the gateway.
I believe it. Personally, I believe it is. It opened my eyes about a lot of things, you know.
Exactly.
Right, well, I'm missing Pamela now, so I need to just play this last little bit because I'm getting withdrawal symptoms from her. So let's play this last little section and see what she's got to say.
And sometimes the best learning experiences are quite challenging. So I'm happy it happened. I think there are other ways that could have been more productive. I've learned an awful lot from that. So thanks, Michelle. Thanks to the other people that were participating. And let's hope that in these dark and dangerous times, we can, as vegans, get together and actually synchronize our activism in a bit more of a sort of like a proactive and consolidated way, rather than just sort of like all getting on at each other. I know everybody says this, but okay. Anyway, let's have a go at that, because together, you know what I'm going to say now, don't you? Together, we can stop the war on other animals. Happy holidays. You take care.
I will.
That's so insincere. I mean, she goes to say that, and then she turns around and insults us.
Exactly. I mean, divisive. Let's all work together.
And then she threatens and insults us. I just don't get it.
It's ironic.
Yeah. It's virtue signaling is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I feel like her response video is more of a way of a big virtue signal. Is like, I was bullied, but I stood up. I'm not a shrinking violet. I've gone on into all these dangerous places. I've spoke up for people. I've got a point of view. I've learned by my mistakes. I went into this all wrong, but I was bullied by all these people. So, but what I say is valid. That's what I've got from that response video. So I'd love her to jump on Michelle's stream and have a one-to-one where there's no way she's going to feel bullied, because it's one against one. So the best thing.
Be bullying. Only the difference is it was like one person versus like everybody. Well, so I wouldn't really call it bullying, but I would say if everyone was acting like her, it would be bullying. If that makes sense. I guess she was aggressive more so than bullying.
If everybody debated like her, we would get nowhere. Because we spent.
she didn't debate, did she? She just talked at people
Talked
for
at us.
2.5 hours. She didn't let anyone else have an opinion. And I don't feel like her rebuttal video today has cleared up anything, because all she's done, and what I loved is that she shared Michelle's video in her post on her Facebook page, and it will just show people what a vile, aggressive, narcissistic human being that she is.
Yeah.
She's
and when
narcissistic.
Richard tried to talk about racism, she wouldn't
Yes.
listen. When Faith tried to talk about disabilities, she wouldn't listen.
Nope. You're 100% stupid vegan. I think I hate calling you that as well. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not nice. Is it?
Stupid.
Because she's not stupid. You're really super intelligent, and you sound so young.
You
and
do
I'm going to
sound young.
patronize. You sound so young.
I sound younger than I am, but and
Okay.
I look younger than I am too.
You've
I'm
got your head
26.
screwed
Yeah,
on.
you like me, stupid vegan. I look younger than I am. What?
Enjoy that while you can. Believe me, enjoy that.
I agree. You only look around 60.
Thanks, Mark. Blackpool's only 40 minutes away, mate. I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying.
And he knows where you
In
live,
a
Mark.
couple of minutes, you'll forget he insulted you. It's your age.
That's another
Mate.
thing. That's another thing that, like, somebody in the comments was
That'll
trying
be
to
your door, Mark. That'll be your door in 40 minutes.
Grumpy. That's another
Yes.
thing when we were doing that live stream on Michelle's, and somebody was complaining that we were, like, talking down to our elder or something. I don't know how old she is. And we're all about the same age, I think. I mean, or at least on the stream, I think we were.
She's 30. She's just had a hard life.
Richard and Faith were young, but
Got a long paper round.
I don't know how old she is. I can find out if you want.
what I'm trying to say is, it's like some people who just decided that we were bullying or talking down to our elder, they already had been on her side, or
They made their assumptions. I mean, God, Stacey, I thought you were my age.
Thank you. It's all the preservatives that I put in my body.
But that's it. I mean, I don't know about how old she is. I don't know, 80, 90. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, but is it,
I'm not particularly young myself. I mean, I'm 48 now, unfortunately.
I'm 51. I think Grumpy's 53. I think you said one time.
And the rest. But,
I don't know.
I'm 53. Yeah, just
Yeah,
ignore
yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, I remember.
He's getting very pedantic.
And I don't know how old Michelle is, quite honestly, but I assume we're all around the same age. We're older than our 20s, or at least on that stream we were.
I was just going to say, can you put that comment up?
Yes, age is irrelevant, and I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, like, people taking issue with that in the comments, I thought was silly. It just goes to show that they already were had made up their minds where they were at before.
It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be just as wrong as she was at any age.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. I mean, like, again, stupid vegan. I don't know how old you are, but if you say you're older than you sound.
I'm at 26.
Oh my God, you do sound a lot younger than that.
Yeah,
I
you
think
have
you
a
were
very
like
young
16,
voice.
17, very young voice.
Yeah.
But even at 26, when I was 26, I wasn't as knowledgeable and as wise as you are.
I was
26 is still a young age.
I was too busy doing cocaine and hanging out with rock bands. I just,
I
didn't even come to veganism until I was 36. So
people were ageist. Like, this group of trolls was ageist against me when I was like 19, 20. They would say stuff like, "Oh, you just don't know what you're talking about because you're in your early 20s and stuff."
Yes.
And we know more than you. But they were like some of the most immature people I've ever seen.
Yeah. And that can happen. I mean, me getting older, I'm just going to speak for myself. I could see, like, I feel like I was just 21 yesterday. Sometimes I don't know anymore than I did yesterday. So
Right, you see the thing. The advantage you have with age is you get a lot of life experience.
You can have a lot of life experience at a young age. You can go through a hell of a lot.
Right, yeah, but what I'm saying,
some people in some war-torn countries, and they have a way more life experience than someone like Pamela would have.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that that's the only thing we have got, a lot of life experience. However, somebody at 17 may have studied something and have a shitload more knowledge on a subject than someone who's 50 years old. So that's what I'm saying, is that you should never dismiss a young person because they're young, because they may have studied a shitload more than you have in a lifetime.
Yeah, because
So
I know a lot
that's
of older people that just become complacent in what they know.
Yeah, but I think too the life experience often speaks for itself. You don't generally have to say, well, I know more because I am this age. Like, it should just speak for itself if that's true.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of
Yeah, I mean,
Very wise.
like,
you see, the thing is you speak if you when you speak to people, when you speak on a forum like this, when you speak to people, people are listening to you and they're watching you and they get it straight away if you know what you're talking about. I mean, I try and wing it half the time, right? I'm good at it. That's why I've got an acting career, because I'm good at lying and winging it and making people believe the bullshit.
Let's not push it.
Couldn't make me believe his age, though, could he?
No, couldn't make me believe his acting either. My God. I just saw that. I wish I was on camera right now.
Happy fucking New Year, bastards.
Speaking
I feel
of that,
persecuted.
I'm gonna head out here. I've got some things I've got to get done.
Well, listen, I am gonna call the stream in 10 minutes. So what we'll do now is any questions or comments, people? I'm gonna start having a look now. So please, if you've got any questions to any of us, apart from Stacey, who's going now because she wants to go and get some crack cocaine or something. I don't know. She looks like she's itching.
For some crack.
But it's been nice having you on, Stacey. Is it tomorrow yet? Where you are? Are you behind us or in front of us?
No, she's behind us, like 4 hours.
Oh, she's behind us.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 3:00 here in the afternoon. I just
Okay. Well, have a happy New Year.
You too, everybody. Have a great
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New
And-
Year, Stacey.
happy
Thanks
New
for coming
Year's.
on, Stacey. Thank you.
Bye. See you next year.
See you next year.
See you next year.
So yeah, any comments, any questions? Anybody want to come on for the last 10 minutes and have a chat? So look, who the hell is Pamela? I'm sorry I was late to the stream. You don't want to know, because once you know,
Yeah,
you'll
I was just gonna say that
be.
you don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
She made a movie. If you want to go watch it, it's called The Blair Witch Project. And you can learn everything you need to know about it from that.
Or you could come to Bristol in the UK, Vegan King, and I can introduce you to her.
I'm joking, obviously.
Grumpy, how long have you been abusing your white grump privilege? Oh, I've been abusing my privilege since you're done. I'm great at abusing every sort of thing. I just hate people in general, me personally. This is why I've got no friends. So,
Obviously, this isn't the same thing that Pam was saying, but there's something to be said for studying different groups of people. Obviously, like different religions and different cultures, etc. And that can make you a better vegan activist in a different way, can't it? Because if, say, somebody comes up to you and says, "I'm a particular religion, and we have to eat this particular meat or perform this particular act on an animal," it's part of the fact that if you've studied that or you've read about it a bit and you can say, hold on, that's not actually the case, then that's a different thing,
Right. Yeah.
That makes you a better vegan activist.
Do you know, and it's funny you should say that, because I don't know whether you've been watching the same videos as me, but I've been watching Joey's recent videos where he's had groups, 5 Muslims around him, 5 against 1, bullying.
Oh, okay.
But he's had 5 Muslims around him, and he used the words haram, which means it's cruel or whatever, and he's used the words halal, which means no suffering. And the best halal you can possibly be is vegan. So I've learned a lot of that. So if you do cause suffering, it's haram, apparently. I'm going to have to look it up and
haram. Yeah, haram means that it's wrong. I looked at it the other day. So suffering is wrong.
So halal is a way of causing the least possible suffering to an animal, right? I'm assuming that's what they do. They close their eyes. They try not to let them. But Joey's saying that halal, the best halal way forward is eating a plant-based diet. So you're quite right there, Mark. You're quite right there.
You know, Pam's got the wrong idea about us. It's not that we're disinterested in different cultures, or we're disinterested in using, studying to become better activists. We just disagreed with, the fact that intersectionality can be useful in veganism. That was the only thing. She thinks, that we don't look into anything else, and that
Race lever is wrong. Sorry, haram is forbidden.
Did she
and
talk
harm
about
is
other
forbidden.
cultures? She seemed to talk a whole lot about a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, no.
She mentioned that she lived in a Muslim country, and I think that Vegan Gains brought it up and said, "Well, how were you?" I can't remember who said it now.
Oh no, it was bait because I said something because Vegan Gaines started laughing because it was like a boom moment because he jumped in. He went, Rah! Yeah, and he jumped right in and thought, yeah, because I think I'd said something similar to right. So would you accept Muslims, even though that they're homophobic? They agree with executing gays.
Yeah.
Would you allow them to come and protest with you in? And she couldn't answer that.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
And stoning women as well. Like,
and that's what,
a lot of Muslim countries.
Sharia law.
Yeah. I want to just say, who's it? Michelle said that she's. I think Vegan King was asking who she was, and Michelle said Animal Justice Emergency. Can I just say she stole that name? So there is a group called Animal Justice Project, who are amazing activists. They do a lot of petitioning. They've managed to, there's a mega farm up north that I went to in September, October, and they've managed to get loads of supermarkets to drop this mega farm that are horrendous. And we don't get many mega farms in the UK, but they're called Animal Justice Project. And she stole the name and changed it to Animal Justice Emergency. And when she says, we are Animal Justice Emergency, there is nobody that is just her on her own.
And Vegan King says, because halal slaughter, they slit the throats of animals while they're fully conscious. Well, actually, Vegan King, in the UK, halal slaughter, they actually stunned them, which I didn't know. And neither did half the Muslims that were talking to Joey. So that's a bit of an eye-opener as well.
Yeah, and it's not just that they slit their throats. It's that they are meant to be facing Mecca, and they're meant to have prayer spoke in their ear, and they're not meant to be able to see another animal being slaughtered in front of them, which does not happen in the UK. None of those things happen in the UK.
There's absolutely millions and millions. And like Joey says, how do you know that all this has been carried out to the letter of your religion, to the letter of Islam? Well, I trust the butcher. So they're placing everything on the halal chicken in Asda, the halal food in Subway. They're putting the whole trust in the people behind the counter. So it's a bit hit and miss anyway, as far as I'm concerned. And like he says, go ahead.
In the US, in other places, believe all kinds of lies, like cage-free, huge buzzword here. Free range, huge buzzword here.
Same.
Yeah. And free range is a non-entity. It's absolute non-entity. If they've got 30,000 chickens in a shed and they make a little opening in the side of the barn so the chickens can go out if they want to, that is now free range chicken. Absolute effing bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
See, this is what amazes me, because on Michelle's stream, the conversation. How long was the stream? 3 hours? It seemed like an eternity. It was massive, and you can, literally, I can count on one hand. I could count on one hand if I only had one finger. I can count that. That's how many times animals were mentioned. They really weren't mentioned at all. And I know it was about politics and intersectionality, but it was in how they relate to veganism and animal welfare, etc., wasn't it? But that never came up. This stream, without Pam on it, even though we've been talking about Pam, the conversations come back to animals quite a few times, and we're obviously talking about them now. So I think that just just shows the difference when people are actually concerned with animals. The conversation always comes back round to it, doesn't it? No matter what you're talking about, when you're vegan. Whereas is Pam just was in love with her own intelligence, or what she thought was her own intelligence, and wanted to look impressive. There's a time for being intelligent, and there's a time just to save animals.
Yeah,
right.
She
Okay.
also ignored the vegans with other experiences that she was claiming she wanted to help. So, I mean, that I think could be a much better solution than just talking about intersectionality in general, listening to vegans with different experiences. But she didn't even do that.
I want to point out Elliot Davis's comment. Is that not the guy that comes on chewing a vegan fat that is not vegan? Is that the same guy? Or am I thinking of someone else?
You're preaching to the converted here about free range practices. Am I? Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't understand the comment.
Is that
You'll
not
have
the
to
same
explain.
guy?
I think
Is
it's
that
good.
not the same guy that comes on to chewing a vegan fat that knows Daryl?
I don't know. It could be, yeah. Is it you, Elliot? Let us know. Yeah, Elliot rings a bell. Right, well, listen, we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, but I'd just like to push everything to one side now. Let's push Pam. No, he's not that person, he says. Push Pam out of the picture now. I want to talk about veganuary just for the last 5 minutes. So veganuary is coming up, and it is that time of year when we try and get people to try veganism just for 4 weeks. And I think that as soon as that clock hits 12 midday, that's what we need to start pushing forward. And personally, I don't want to see people start arguing over plant-based, over veganism. I just want people to experience, dare I say it, the vegan diet for 4 weeks. That's all I want. I want people to feel how good they feel, how good the food is, right? And enjoy not eating animals for 4 weeks, because those 4 weeks will save a shitload of animals' lives, whether they are plant-based or vegan or whatever they consider themselves. I don't personally want to see people going on saying, well, you're not vegan, you're just plant-based, you're just trying it and all that. I want people just to try it. I want to give everybody a big thumbs up, big round of applause, a big up for those 4 weeks. Because
the animals don't care what you're calling yourself. If you're not eating them, you're not eating them.
Exactly.
And it's probably easier than a lot of people think. And also, for when I stopped eating animals, I stopped feeling a lot of guilt too. I actually stopped because I just felt so guilty. That was the main reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, we should feel guilty.
Like not knowing. Yeah. No, but which I think a lot of people, vegans, do with advocacy in general, is like thinking like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing anything, but I mean, it felt much less guilty to not eat them. So
definitely. I mean, this is what I want everybody to do. I just want everybody just to push veganuary. Just throw products up. Just throw products up. I know veganism isn't a diet, but it's a way in. It's for veganuary. I mean, last year I think there was nearly 1 million extra people tried it, and if only 10% of those people stuck at it, just think, it's just enormous. It's just such an impactful thing.
Agreed,
and if they try it for 4 weeks, then go back to the normal ways or their own normal ways, whichever way you want to see. They may try it again the year after and then go with it. But as long as we get as many people to try it.
There's a lot of good resources out there to help people transition too.
Definitely. I mean, I didn't even know about Challenge 22 when I went vegan. Didn't even know about it. And we just did it on our own, me and my husband, and just Googled recipes. That's what we did. And Googled clothes and things like that. So, I mean, I was already using cosmetics that weren't tested on animals because I've been using them forever, since my 20s, because I was dead against it. But yeah, I didn't even have Challenge 22. It was and I went vegan at 40. It's the easiest thing I've ever done in my whole life.
I couldn't
I've
believe
got-
how easy it was. It's just ridiculously
Oh.
easy. I mean, I don't know how it was. I mean, even if it was like 30 years ago, I suppose if you were into your cooking, you could cook with, Whole Foods and stuff and, whatever, then it would have been. But now, with everything that's happening with like replacement meat products and everything else, I mean, Subway's just done their vegan chicken sort of like sub, haven't they? And they've got now double chocolate cookies that are vegan, and all these companies jumping on veganuary. It's just so easy.
Yeah. There's a lot of alternatives, and I think a lot of people don't think about all the like non-alternative, just like naturally plant-based foods they like. So I think it's a lot less limiting than people.
I think that's it. You've got to make it as easy as possible. I mean, I do a lot of cooking, so we use a lot of like Whole Foods and stuff, just because it's cheap and and trying to get healthy. But but these other meat products and everything else, they're not particularly healthy, but that's not really the point, is it? Some people aren't even concerned with the health, so they can easily eat, like chicken replacement stuff and everything else, and they'll be absolutely fine. It's just about reducing cruelty, and if our people are there, about the health, then they'll maybe go for more Whole Foods stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really make any difference as long as the animals aren't being eaten.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Fear of Vegan Plate said it was easy in the 90s. It's probably always been easy, but I would tend to sort of disagree to a point with that. It depends on your background, and I found I didn't find it uneasy because I was a cook. I could cook. I always cook family meals, so I didn't find the transition that hard. However, if you're not cooking, I would have thought that trying to get a plant-based diet in the 90s would have been a tough call, because
You would have had to be a cook,
you'd have to
been cooking.
You'd have to be a cook.
Well, a lot more people were cooking in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I mean, my mum never bought like like anything from takeaways or anything. She was always just like cooking from home, and I think a lot of people at that time were. So it probably would have been easy, quite easy. But people nowadays, it's all very convenience. A lot, not everyone, obviously. I'm not blanketing everyone with it, but a lot of people do prefer the more convenience products and stuff they can just,
especially nowadays. You're right, Mark. 100%. Like if you look back at like the 50s and 60s and things, when people had come out, they were still doing the rationing in the 50s. They had to cook. They had to learn to cook with minimal amount of ingredients.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, well, the thing is, Rebecca, I don't know whether Mark agrees with me on this one, is that in the 70s and 80s, you didn't see a lot of fat people. You didn't see a lot of fat kids at the school.
No, I agree. I was born in the 70s. I saw my first fat kid when I went to live in the States. I went to live in America in 1986. That was the first time I'd ever seen a fat child. Never saw a fat child in the UK.
What time do you call this?
I was one of the few fat kids in my school, to be honest with you, and which made me quite a target, for bullying, etc. Because there wasn't that many of them. You're absolutely right.
My point is, Mark,
mine was severe over. Mine wasn't junk food because we never ate junk food. Mine was just
there wasn't any
high volume. That's what mine was.
There wasn't any. There wasn't any. There was a chippy. That was it.
That was the lot.
There was a chippy, and then 83. Sorry, Rebecca, cutting you off, mate. I just need to get it out. But as soon as like 1980, 1981, Burger King, McDonald's came, and then all these fast food outlets suddenly started appearing, and that's when you saw, and people blamed it on sugar. But in the 70s and 80s, the sweets were bigger, the chocolate was bigger. We weren't eating any less sweets than they were in the 80s and 90s. We're eating exactly the same amount of sweets. In fact, these sweets were cheaper. So it wasn't sugar that made the kids fat, even though the press would like to think it was, because we still had Coca-Cola, we still had Pepsi. It was fast food.
When people talk about saturated fat being unhealthy, and they're like, "Oh, so you think like candy and sugar," and they blame it on the sugar industry, saying saturated fat is bad for you. I mean,
Yeah, Yeah, they want us to believe it's the sugar industry. That was the big sort of fallacy that went down in the 90s.
When have the health experts said, drink Coca-Cola, eat candy? They've always said to limit your sugar intake, your refined sugar intake.
Precisely. And it's the only place where it's sort of been proven is, I think it's a Brazilian area or a South American area where they drink Coca-Cola by the litre every day, 7 days a week.
I have
And that's the
heard
only time.
that it is easy to put on weight with saturated fat, also very easy to put on weight, but with sugary beverages, because your body takes it all in so quickly. There's no fiber to slow it down.
No, they don't fill you up, do they? Stupid vegan. I agree with you entirely. They don't fill you up. They just go in there. There's no fiber. It's absorbed straight in there. It's just liquid calories that are very easy to consume, a vast amount of calories in a very short space of time, and still feel hungry because it's just a drink, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
you digest them very quick.
I mean, Muddy Paws says there. Sorry, I don't mean to cut people. Please, anybody who comes on the stream with me, please understand that because I'm sort of like ADHD, I cut people off. I don't mean to do it. It's just that thoughts come in and I've got to get them out. But Muddy Paws says we used to play out, but that's of no significance whatsoever, because you can go to a gym and work out 24-hour days, 7 days a week. But if you're still eating more calories than you're burning, you will still be fat. You will still put on weight. So
the body
exercise has no
can't
consequence.
Thermodynamics.
Exactly. See, you're very clever, stupid vegan. I don't know why you call stupid vegan.
No,
Yeah,
nor do I.
I think you should change your name.
I don't know if anyone's checked out her channel, but you should check it out because I really like it.
Oh, have you got a channel, stupid vegan?
Oh, thanks. Yes, I got a notification that you subscribed to me.
Have I subscribed to you as well? I get through so many. Right, okay. Right, everybody, please subscribe to Stupid Vegan. She's got a channel. I've subscribed to it unknowingly. I'm always subscribing to stuff and clicking on stuff because I'm totally dumb. But is yours the one with the cartoon figures?
Yeah.
I know exactly what. Yes, I have watched your. Yes, I have subscribed to you. Yes, I have.
She's good.
So please go and have a look at Stupid Vegan's channel. I think she should change her name to Slightly Clever Vegan because it sounds nicer. Huh?
I shouldn't even. Not even Slightly Clever Vegan. Like, I think she should change her name to Elevated Vegan.
You need to learn to spell, Race Lever, so shut it.
Can I just, I'm going to do a plug now. I've got a competition at the moment on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. You can win 100 vegan activist stickers.
Is that all?
Oh, well, that's quite a lot.
I thought that's quite good.
What about some like beer and sweets and shit and like?
No, because my YouTube channel's not about getting fat on sweets. It's about getting active, you knobhead.
Did he call me a knobhead then?
Yeah.
What did you call him again?
A knobhead.
What was he again?
Oh, someone's muted her. Just call me Tristan.
Again, knobhead. Yeah. You know I love you, really, Grumpy. My husband already thinks that we're flirting. He's like, it's schoolyard flirting.
I won't flirt with you. You know what I mean? I've got taste, mate.
He flirts with everyone. He flirts with me.
Yeah,
listen, mate. You're a different thing. You know what I mean? You're the vegan pussycat. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, baby. Wow, yeah.
I don't think I mentioned, but
a bit of pussy.
I don't think I mentioned, but I have a channel also, Grumpy. If you.
The Vegan Mooncat. Anybody who loves a bit of like really sort of diverse comedy and madcap humour, go to Vegan Mooncat's channel because it's full of it. It's absolutely brilliant, and we are going to collaborate soon once we come out of lockdown.
I'm going to subscribe to that Vegan Mooncat. You know, he sounds great.
Are you really? In fact, I've got your mug. I'm going to put a Jack Daniels and Coke in your mug and drink out of it.
Hey.
Yeah, it might get me smashed a little bit earlier. I was going to say something and all about age before. We were talking about like the sexism thing about wolf whistles, Vegan Pixie Warrior. And when I was a young lad, I used to drive around in your Ford Capri 2-litre gear. I
had a Ford Capri.
used to beep at girls, and they used to like giggle and smile at me and all that stuff, right? Now when I do it, they just shout paedophile.
What's this video from Joey Carbstrong? Is this goodbye?
I know. Oh man, I don't care. Right, well listen, let's call it now because my family will be filtering home at any minute.
Oh, come
now,
on. You can't leave it on the word paedophile.
Of course we can. It's a perfect word to leave it on. So
I'm gonna give him a wolf whistle. I'm gonna give him.
I'm feeling slightly drunk now, actually, as well. So yeah, I've got through. Right, we'll do 10 more minutes, and that's it. Right, 10 more minutes. Right, so get out your last comments now, and I'll go and get another. So, Vegan Pixie Warrior, you've just brought out a video, and you were calling me names because it's appeared the same time as I decided to stream.
Yeah, because you know my videos go up at 6:30 on a Thursday.
Mate, I don't know. I don't take any notice of anything.
I have a schedule.
I don't have schedules. I do shit off the
We
cuff.
talked about this.
That's why I get arrested a lot. I decide to do things on the spur of the moment, and they're not always the wisest. I can't help it. I just do shit like that.
We talk every day, sweetheart. We talk every day. You know this. Thursday, 6:30. Vegan Pixie Warrior. Done. On.
Sorry, it's gone. It's just completely went out. I just didn't hear anything you said then.
You just don't listen to me anyway.
Nicky Riverdenese says, "Don't go, Grumpy."
No, you can bugger off.
Don't take no shit from her, Grumpy.
Do you know what? He doesn't take any shit from me, and I don't take any shit from him, and that's why we get on together. Oh, he's gone.
I don't know.
Thank fuck for that.
Not bad.
Not bad. I know schedules. I see Michelle's comment. I don't do schedules either. I know, but the thing is, I think I'm a little bit OCD and maybe a little bit on the autistic spectrum, and I like having things in order. Like my CD collection is in alphabetical order, but then also in chronological order of that artist.
What are you collecting?
Shut her up, for God's sake. I don't want to hear it. I've got it all in chronological order, and I've got all the names and all the letters. Oh, she's back.
CDs?
Yeah, no, I know. I haven't played one for years.
Do they still make them?
No, I haven't bought a CD for probably 12 years. But I still have all my CDs.
I've got a cabinet with hundreds of DVDs. I haven't watched one in 5 years.
No, I know. I gave loads of my DVDs away to charity shop the other day, but I kept certain ones. I'm like, I can't throw the Studio Ghibli collection away.
Stupid vegan, do you know what a DVD is?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, DVDs when I was a kid were very big. Actually, when I was really little, I was still around for VHS.
No way.
No way. No.
That's more than 26 years ago.
Yeah, no. Yeah, at least in the US.
No.
Yeah, they were. When DVDs didn't really become.
I'm talking about VHS video cassettes. They weren't still
I think I was around for when they came out, and for a while, both were still pretty big for a bit.
What, VHS?
Early 2000s, VHSs were still huge.
Well, I'm glad you had VHSs because my dad made the stupid mistake of buying Betamax and try and get a videotape that fits there. It's like this big and you can't get. It's like you go to the video shop and you go, "Oh, I'd like to rent this movie, please." Ah, sure. Oh, we need the Betamax ones. All right. On your bike.
Say that though. Betamax is a better product than VHS.
Do you remember Laserdisc?
Laserdisc.
They tried bringing out Laserdisc. They were sort of like a massive LP. People know what I mean by an LP. Like they were like that big, weren't they? Like a big golden disc,
like a giant CD looking thing.
Yeah, in the early 2000s, DVDs were still big. I think VHS were still pretty big. CDs were still really big.
I remember
through my lifetime that everything became digitalized.
I remember going to the video shop, picking films to watch, and if there were any sex scenes in them, the bits where the sex was, it was all crackly and thingy because people had like rewind and play on these sex scenes.
People, hey, people, Grumpy.
What was so annoying though is when you pick up a VHS from like Blockbuster, and the person that watched it before you hadn't rewound at the beginning. Oh my god, that was so
it's like Grumpy's got like Blue Lagoon on rental for 4 weeks, and they need it back for someone else.
You know.
I think Grumpy's tastes are way more hardcore than Blue Lagoon.
I know. I was trying to be nice.
Confessions of a Window Cleaner. But in the 70s, all I used to hear when I was a kid was, "Danny, get up and turn the telly over. Danny, get up and turn the telly over." Because we didn't have remote controls. I had to get up and go and press a button to change to one.
You were the remote control.
I was the remote control, yeah.
I'm Easy Vegan. My wife has a vinyl player. She loves them. I have a 1950s radiogram in my front room that doesn't work. So if anyone knows how to get it to work, let me know. Message me.
It's full of valves and all sorts. You don't. It's just so much.
No, I do want it. It's my grandmother's, and I really want it working. It's got like a record player on one side and a radio on the other.
My dad had one. It was made by a company called Ragonda, I think it was, and it was a big
Garand, I think, or Garment. Oh, what is it?
It's more a piece of furniture than a piece of technology.
My best friend's dad called it a dust collector, and I was like, do you know what? That was my grandma's. I love it.
You know, I used to do deliveries, multi-drop deliveries in a 7.5 ton vehicle, and I used to go to this house, and it used to be all sort of hi-fi equipment. And I said to this guy, I says, what are in these boxes? Because they're really heavy. And he said, the concrete speakers, right? And I said, concrete speakers? He says, do you want to come in and have a listen? So I went into his house, and he had these, and they're basically speakers, but they're like encased in concrete. And he put Dark Side of the Moon on by Pink Floyd. Oh my God.
Album.
You know the one where the clocks start ringing? What's that? That track? It was like a 3D experience. It was absolutely amazing. I've never heard anything like it in my life. That was in the early 90s.
We had portable DVD players that were like huge because we would take them in the car with us.
Show off.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
He's teasing you. Ignore him, SV.
I think people are surprised about how people forget how fast technology.
Yeah.
That was a deal back then. Now it's not now it would be terrible. Kids now would be like, this sucks. Because they have the the TV players like built into the cars that they can.
Yeah, I mean, I was ahead when I was a kid. I had a cassette player, a personal stereo with the big orange earphones, right?
Yeah.
And the feature I had on mine? It was autoplay on the other side, so you didn't even have to take the tape out, turn it over, and put it back in again. It automatically played the other side.
Well,
I remember
we were always. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, you go first.
I was going to say we were super. No, here we go. Get the tiny violin out. We were always super poor, so we had hardly any. So we were always way behind with technology. So when everyone was using cassettes, we were on 8-track tape, in the car. When everyone else was using whatever, we were always behind. Everyone had like a Super Nintendo. We were on the NES. Never catch up ever.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. My dad, right, would not get a colour TV because you had to pay more for a TV license. So basically, me and our kid would try and convince my dad it would be better to get a colour TV. We'd be sat there, he'd be watching snooker, and we'd be like, Dad, what colour's that ball? What colour's that ball? Dad, how the fuck do you know what colour the ball is? How can you watch fucking snooker in black and white TV? I ended up buying one myself when I got a job.
I had a black and white TV in my mid-20s. So like 20 years ago. No, seriously, I had a black and white TV on purpose because again, I didn't want to pay the TV license. And it's like, fuck it. I'd rather have, but I didn't watch much TV. So I listened to music a lot, and I was out more. But what was I going to say? I remember having a cassette player. I don't know if anyone else did this in the chat. Anyone that's 40 or above probably will. But when Radio 1 used to play the top like 40 on a Sunday, me and my sister used to record it on a cassette player, and you used to have to like pause it right when the song finished and before the DJ started talking again, and then like record it again, and you rewind it and like just to cut it off in that right place. It was a nightmare. Anyone else?
I loved it. I loved it.
Well, what I always laughed about my dad, because we were always technology behind. Everyone else had moved to transistor-based TV, so these were more modern. They were lighter. We never had one of them. We were valve-driven. We had these big, valves inside, so the TVs weighed a ton. They were so heavy. And my dad would walk in the house, and we'd be watching whatever it was, and he'd go, "What are you watching?" You go, "Oh, it's such and such." "You being rude?" No, we're just watching the show. Don't, I want to know what it is. Well, watch it and you'll see. All right, that's it. TV's gone. So he'd unplug it and he'd get the TV, and it's his own fault. He chose the biggest, heaviest, oldest TVs on the market. He'd be carrying this giant, heavy TV set away, and he'd be putting it on top of the wardrobe. And I swear he gave himself a hernia trying to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there is an advantage to that, because when people used to break into your house, they never used to rob your fucking TV, did they? You know what I mean?
Certainly not that thing.
He didn't just tell you not to watch it. He'd really have to take
it took him about 2 minutes, and he'd wind himself up. We weren't winding him up. He'd wind himself up, stupid vegan, into the point where he thought we were being rude to him. So he'd take the TV, and my mum used to get super annoyed because he'd always do it at the beginning of the summer holidays, and he wouldn't bring it down. So we were going like stir crazy, and then obviously we just ended up buggering off out of the house, obviously. But he'd always do it at the time. My mum would go, "Oh, give him the telly back. They're driving me bonkers," and he never would. He made his.
Can I just give it a shout out? Like, Michelle used to record the top 10, and Sherry Henderson. So I'm guessing that's your partner, isn't it, Mark? She used to record it. Vegan Taco used to. Chickpea Sani. I love it. Just feeling the love. It's all the women. Look.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad made the lead short on the TV because he got it into his head that we were watching way too much TV, so he cut the lead off so it wouldn't reach the plug.
You think that's bad? My dad banned us from watching Grange Hill because in the intro they stole somebody's sausage, and he didn't want us being encouraged to be a thief.
Wow. Wow. My cousins thought that the TV only worked between like 4 and 5 o'clock because their mum would only let the TV go on at that time. And my dad was staying with them once when he was working in the area, and they came upstairs to the mum and they're like, Mum, Uncle David made the TV work because he was watching the news in the morning.
How's this possible?
Yeah.
Hey, bloody hell. The good old days.
Oh,
and I mean, it was like, it was even sort of the technology now. I mean, you just sit there. Look, we're all talking now. I mean, there's some guy in America, there's some guy in Blackpool, there's some guy in Bristol, right? And we're talking to each other. Yeah? Well, you know what I mean, person, whatever. You have to be like that. But back in the 70s, we had phone boxes, and for some reason we had phones in the hall. We used to put them in the hallway.
It's a central place in the house.
Why put the phone in the hallway? Why? Why did we not?
Did you have one of those things as well? That, with the alphabet on, and you'd like go around it and press it, and it'd pop open, and it had like people's numbers actually physically written in there. Did you have one of them?
Oh yes. Yeah, like an A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
And you press it and it pop up.
The phone with the dial when you set
old
like that,
school
and you
equivalent
press
of
one and it would scroll.
No, like a phone book thing, yeah. Like the equivalent of when you go to your phone and you've got everyone's names listed. Apart from it, it's in a physical manifestation of this.
Hello, Bear. My bear's entered the room. Is dinner almost ready?
Dinner's ready, right?
I think you probably heard the cutlery go down then. But yeah, thanks for letting me come on. I've loved tonight. hopefully I haven't slurred too much. What are we doing there? Oh, I saw
The banana
the band,
splits.
but the band that made this song. Do you know who the band that made that song are?
Who?
I saw. I'm going to find it now. We saw, who was it? The Banana Split song. What was the band called?
Dickies.
The Dickies. We saw them last.
Oh,
year.
I've got a yellow vinyl thingy by the Dickies because they were a punk band. I loved them. Yeah, I've got a yellow vinyl Banana Splits single by the
Well,
Dickies.
they did the Banana Split song when we saw them in Bristol actually probably 2 years ago. It was fantastic. They were so good live.
Rolling with Bedrock Bonnie.
I'm trying to think of the song we used to sing to the Banana Splits. It was a rude song. I think it went 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 bananas fighting in the Second World War. 1 with a shovel and 1 with a pick and 1 with a hand grenade tied to his tra-la-la.
I'm going to go and have my dinner, but thanks for having me on, Grumpy. Happy
It's
New
been-
Year.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
I want my bear
Happy
wants
New
to say
Year,
Happy New
Dan.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, Dan.
2021.
Year. Is my activist enabler. That's who that is.
Well, listen,
But I love you guys.
we're going to call it anyway. So, because like I said, it's nearly 8:30, and my family are going to come, and they're going to feel very awkward that they can't come in and watch TV and stuff like that. And
It won't
so,
be working
listen,
at this time of night anyway.
hey,
It won't be working at this time of night. The TV, will it?
oh, no, I mean the test card with a clown and a girl with a piece of chalk. I
Oh
think.
my God.
Yeah, the Arabian Night. Well, listen, it's been absolutely great. A big thank you to Vegan Pixie Warriors, to the Vegan Mooncat, to Stupid Vegan, and to Trash Carcass, Stacey, and anybody else who's been on the stream. It's been absolutely brilliant. We will do another one of these pretty soon. Should we do an over? Should we be ageist and do an over 40s stream one evening? Do you think that'll be a good idea? No. Are you saying no now?
I
No.
We can't.
I feel bad you're saying it with Stupid Vegan in the
Well, I'll tell you what. No, let's just do a reminiscent. Let's talk about the 70s, 80s, or whatever. Let's talk about
No,
yeah. Let's do
because I really like. What did I call you, Stupid Vegan, earlier? Oh, look, you got a super chat.
Oh, thank you, Stacey. $5. That's brilliant. Thank
What did I
you.
call Stupid Vegan earlier?
like
I don't know. What did you call her earlier?
I said her new name that she should be called, like,
elevate.
Elevate.
I don't know, but it was very
Elevate.
complimentary and saying she was intelligent in some way. I think
I
it
don't want
was.
to leave her out. But I'm going to go. My food's going cold. I've got a nut roast by the looks of it.
Oh,
Bye,
don't
guys.
be chewing on Dan's nuts. I tell you.
You knew he was going to say it.
Yeah, I have to, didn't I? Go without saying. Michelle Lowell's streaming tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. So please all gather for that. That should
Definitely
be good.
on there for that, Michelle.
Yeah,
Your channel's amazing.
I'll send Pam a message to come over.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See you
Well,
later.
listen, thanks for all coming on. Thank you, Vegan Mookat. Thank you, Stupid Vegan. Happy New Year to everybody. Have a brilliant New
Thanks
Year.
for having me on. Happy New Year.
No problem. You're
New Year, Stupid
welcome
Vegan.
anytime. And same to you, Mark. Anytime you're welcome.
And then you,
So
Dan.
enjoy, and don't forget Veganuary. Push it. Push it. Let's get it going. Speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.